Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Favour Jerry. It has actually been a while since I dropped a video. I'm very sorry about that. From this time on, we'll be more consistent. I'll be more consistent. I promise, and I pray. I pray so. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button right away, please. Thank you. This video is something that has really been bothering my mind, and I've really been thinking about it, and so many persons have asked questions around it, and I've seen circumstances and things happening in that flow. So I want to ask, does the will of God in marriage change? Does the will of God for a person in marriage change? Like, for example, God told you, I've had a lot of people saying, God told me you are my wife. At the end of the day, the person goes to someone else. I perceive in my spirit that you're my wife. The same person goes to someone else. God says you are my wife and all of that. So I really want to understand. I don't know. I'm going to be airing my opinion and talking about some circumstances around me that I've seen. And I'd like you to drop your own opinion in the comment section. If you have ever experienced such a thing before, how it played out and all of that. Does the will of God for someone in marriage change along the line? So stay tuned and enjoy this video. I'll be right back. What is it like to go meet somebody and tell the person that you are God's will for me, and I'm convinced in my spirit that you are my wife, and then the person says I'll pray about it. Probably the person just prayed not really well about it, based on probably the person knows you as a God-fearing person who won't lie or who won't say what isn't he or she haven't seen concerning, and tracing it to God. Then at the long run, she comes to accept your proposal, and at the long run you are abandoning her for someone else, saying that the person is no longer God's will for you. So does the will of God change? In my opinion, the will of God cannot change. If God is leading you to someone and saying that that is his will for you, then it means he had seen the future of that person. Some persons, I've seen situations whereby the person says he left that other person who God previously said was his will for him because of the person he couldn't put through with the person's character and all of that. Then I don't think that was God from the very beginning, because God sees the intent of every man. He sees the end of every man from the beginning thereof. He like he said to Jeremiah that before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I've ordained you a prophet unto all nations. So that is how it is to everybody. So God knows the character of that person. He knows the future of that person. He knows the future of everybody. So if he's telling you that if he truly told you that that is his will for you, then nothing should change it. Nothing should change it, right? And there's a scenario I came across. This has to do with the lady. They both agreed that they were going into this relationship to get married and all of that. And along the line, as in, these are people that pray together, study the word of God together and all of that, and they were basically convinced that they were to get married. And suddenly the lady started acting up. The brother in question began to see her attitude and all of that, and he got confused, and he confronted her. What is the issue? She wasn't saying anything, and after a long while she had to tell him that she feels that several persons told her that he's no longer the will of God for her, and that the will of God, the person who prophesied, was the will of God for her, and and so the relationship had to come to an end. Could that be God from the beginning? Could that be God? So looking at all these experiences happening around, I don't think that it is right to walk up to someone and say, God said you are my wife. Okay, see, if you are putting God in front and airing your opinion and saying it out that it is God's will for you, then you shouldn't disappoint the person, because you shouldn't change your mind, because God doesn't change his mind. Either it wasn't God who told you from the very beginning that that person is your wife or your husband, or you are deciding on your own to derail from God's own plan for you, God's own choice for you, to your own choice. So you either accept either of the two, because that is just it. Someone told me about a so-called brother who who was convinced that a particular lady was his wife, and he went after her. She accepted, and just like that, he turned around and said she wasn't God's will for her any longer. He went to the next person, the same thing, the third person, the same thing. And along the line, he just broke up with one other lady, and the next thing she saw was that he was getting married just few weeks from when he left the other person. So it's kind of put up a question in my mind: if unbelievers are having multiple girlfriends and ending up marrying one, when the following day when they were with the other the previous day, should it be so with us also as believers? And the worst of it is putting the name of God or putting God's name in front while doing that. Should it be so with us also? I'm not talking about men alone. Ladies also do that too. I've heard circumstances where a lady okay, there was one a friend told me about recently. The man who she said was her boyfriend, or probably yeah, boyfriend, um dropped her off at the park while she was going for her introduction in the village, and he never knew. Yes, he paid her at transport fare to her introduction with another man, and he, in his mind, he was thinking that this is my woman, only to be shocked with the news of her getting married just few months to their breakup, about 2 to 3 weeks to their breakup. So youths of these days, I don't know why we do that. Some persons say that they changed their mind later because they noticed that his character isn't going down well with them and the rest of that, and or her character isn't going down well with him and all of that. And I begin to think, but God, if it is truly God sending you on that journey, it means he already knows the character of the person. So why will you change your mind, or why will God change his mind because of the character of the person? Definitely it isn't God. Now I'll use my parents as an example. I very earlier dropped a video that I talked about my parents um marriage and all of that, where I talked about how they got to know that it was God's will for them, and she got to know that he wasn't her husband because God gave her a revelation of the man's future, of the person's future. And to be sincere with you, what she saw then about the man is his reality presently. So if God is telling you that this is my will for you, it means he has seen the end of the person, and he knows that that is okay. So why should he change his mind later with the excuse that the person isn't well behaved, or the person is a drunkard, or the person is a smoker, or whatever? So I feel there's a better way to put it out there to the person you're interested in, without, even if it is God leading you, without bringing God into it, especially when you know yourself not to be faithful or not to be straightforward. Put God out of it. Just be sincere with your emotions. Be sincere about it, even if it is God leading you. Just put it out, because God will never lead you to someone you don't love. God can never ask you to marry who you don't love. God can never ask you to marry who you can't love. It's not possible. Or going to tell someone else, I am persuaded in my spirit that you're my wife. That is even better in your spirit. It's actually better than putting it out there. God says I should marry you, or God says you are his will for me as my wife, and then ending up getting the person disappointed, and pulling down the person's faith in God, person's faith and trust for other brethren and all of that. So I think you should reconsider. Men, you have to reconsider how you put it out there, even if it is God leading you. And also, ladies, when you say you are convinced that this you in the spirit, that okay, God is leading me, I feel God is leading me, then you should, once, the bottom line of everything I'm saying is that once you've involved God, ensure you don't go back in your words, because I don't think God is a liar. God does not lie. If he's leading you, he's leading you. If he's not leading you, he's not leading you. Most of the men of God I know, and I've heard their stories about how they asked their wives out and all of that. I don't think I've come across any, to the best of my knowledge right now, that went to meet the wife and say, God says I should marry you. God says you are my wife. So please, I don't know. But in my opinion, let's save the name of God from all this mess. Let's save the name of God. Let's stop dragging the name of God in the mud and making it look like God is a liar. Your opinion might be different from mine, so I would like you to drop your opinion in the comment section and let's get talking about this topic. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are still watching, it means you really love the video, so why not subscribe to my YouTube channel? Thank you so much. I love you and God bless you. Amen. Bye.